Hello and grand rising to everyone. Good morning. You are in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zari, the nutritionist. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are live streaming on YouTube, and on Instagram. So for everyone here, please come on in, join the conversation, drop comments, share the live, all the things that we need to be able to get others in the room. Okay, so again, thank you all so much. We have a few topics we're going to be discussing today: the advantages and disadvantages of performance drugs, also prescription performance enhancing drugs, and peptides. All right. So please come on in. Let us know that you're here so we can shout you out. And let's see here, Dr. Zari, go ahead and join me here on stage so we can get started. Grand Rising and all the things. Good morning to you.
Well, Grand Rising, and this is another beautiful morning, and even more so because today we have the one and only Dr. James Thompson in the house. Yeah, that's right. Take out your pens and your recorders and everything else you have because we're going to talk about some really wonderful things. And one of the things that we didn't mention in the intro is that Dr. James is going to talk to us about vitamins and minerals today, and not that you don't know about vitamins and minerals, but I'm talking about when we know it, we can actually start using that knowledge, because usually we find out that vitamin C, ascorbic acid, okay, I know about it. We don't know anything about it. So with the brilliance of Dr. James and this wonderful crew that we have this morning, we're going to talk about these things and make everybody a little more smarter than they were before they started. Okay, Dr. James, why don't you go ahead and join me on up here, man? It's so great to see you up here. How you been doing?
Doing great, doing great. Good to be here on this wonderful space in this venue of Mind of Nature. So I'm ready to roll and learn, ready to give and to learn.
Excellent. Carolyn, when it comes to vitamins and minerals, do you take supplements, or what do you who do you or why do you take the
When do you?
vitamin?
I do some. I like what is it called? Ginger. I like ginger. I just started taking the CBD gummies. So I'm taking that just to kind of see how that goes. And I think that's it. And I would probably take like liquid vitamins too. I've been taking liquid vitamins. So yeah, I do a few things.
So are you experimenting, or you this is something that you committed to, or what?
I would say, I mean, committed means you have to be consistent too, right? So with that, I think I'm kind of like experimenting in a way. Yes, just
Okay.
trying to see what works and all that. Yeah.
Well, with this is the Mind of Nature, and we have the opportunity to get into the mind of Dr. James. This is going to be really fantastic, and I can't wait for it, because this is just something that we so easily negate, and it's we really need vitamins and nutrients. Period. People don't die from starvation. We die or have problems when it comes to food because there aren't any nutrients. So this is going to be wonderful. Kara, why don't you go ahead and give your shout outs, and then we're going to go right into it, Dr. James.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So happy Saturday again to everyone. I see Shirley, a gentle, smart. Hey, hey. Happy Saturday to you, Shirley. Good to see you here. Grand rising to you. Let's see here. Good morning, Carolina Alvarez. Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate everyone being here. I apologize because I don't have Instagram up. I'm going to put it up right now. But if there is anyone watching us on Instagram, hello to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Instagram. So yes, Dr. Zari, let me go ahead and drop back over here and have you join back. Yes, there it
Oh,
is.
so, this is again some of the things that knowing the difference between vitamins and minerals. knowing the difference between fat soluble and water soluble. Some of those things. Let's talk about those so that we can actually start to use the knowledge that we're sharing with you. So I am going to slip my house shoes back on, and we're going to kick back and let Dr. James take it away.
Well, there's plenty to talk about. First of all, we'll we'll go over what the value of vitamins are. So, why should anyone even consider taking vitamins? And vitamins came about as a an addition. The name is supplement, which means to supplement what you're eating. So, vitamins aren't supposed to be your nutrition. They're supposed to add to what you're eating on a daily basis to fill in the gaps, essentially. Because many of us that have the various diets that we follow have some additional ingredients that we need to really balance things out and have the full nutrition that we need for our immune systems to grow, to thrive, to maintain, to live long and live healthy. So the vitamins are labeled as using the alphabet. So often we'll start with A and then go from B to C to D to E. But when it comes to eating a healthy diet, and as many of you or some of you may know, I'm a vegan. When it comes to vegetarians, vegans, people that are eating plant based, there are some unique gaps you might have in your diet, and there's some unique gaps that people that what we call omnivores that eat that eat meat and eat um, animals and eat all kinds of other foods. So we all have some degree of need for gaps in our diet. Now, particularly those that are vegetarian and vegan, we usually start with B. We skip A because you get plenty of vitamin A, which helps with your eyes and helps with your immune system, helps with your skin through eating a lot of fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds and plant-based foods. But what many people that are eating plant-based, which Dr. Zarif and I advocate from week to week on this stage, what we miss in that setting sometimes is B12. And the interesting thing is that most people over 50 should be taking B12 anyway, because as we get older, B12, and I say B as in boy, B12, tends to be less well absorbed. The acidity level in our stomach goes down, and we extract the B12 off of our food less readily. But if you're a vegan or vegetarian, you may have a increased need for that supplement. It's not made by animals, it's not made by plants. The reason why some people that eat animal and dairy products may have less of a problem is because some of these animals and dairy products have B12 either in their muscle or their milk, as in cows, or have it added to the food that we may buy that contains these ingredients, and especially some processed and fortified foods. But vegans and vegetarians do need B12, and why do we need B12? All you have to do is think about what happens if you have a B12 deficiency. That means your red blood cells may not be healthy because they are very important for red blood cells. They're very important for DNA. In order for DNA to function and and for your DNA to be transferred to new cells. And so when people have B12 deficiencies, they often will feel fatigued. They may feel numbness and tingling and weakness because it affects the nerve integrity. It affects nerve signaling. Those are important reasons why to take B12. Now, we don't make the vitamins are ingredients, they include substances we don't make. And so that's why a supplement is needed. Now, does everyone need these vitamins? Not necessarily. That's why you should have doctor's appointments. You should have blood tests. B12 can be assayed, it can be measured in your blood. The second one I'll go to before I hand the mic back to Dr. Z is vitamin D. So those are the top two two supplements that should be considered when you are a vegetarian or vegan, and when you're not, because many people in this country, at least, and in many northern hemisphere countries, don't get enough sun to make vitamin D from their skin. Vitamin D is actually a hormone, 25 hydroxy vitamin D. It's also something that can be measured. It can be easily supplemented, And because most of us aren't spending 30 or more minutes in the sun with enough exposure to direct sunlight, which can be dangerous if you overdo that, of course, if you're lighter complected, we generally need to take vitamin D. And there are some standards for it, somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 international units. And so vitamin D has more than 200 roles in various biochemical processes, including your immune cells, including your skin, including your brain, including how your vital organs function. So it is essential that we have adequate. We did find in COVID, during the COVID-19 pandemic, that those who were low in vitamin D tended to have more problems with the infection, and there was a higher rate of death, higher morbidity, meaning greater, higher severity of disease in people that were low in vitamin D. So it's something that can be checked, should be checked annually, and for those of you that are in the sun, working in the sun a lot, perhaps you don't need it as much, but get it checked out to make sure. So I'll hand it back to you, Dr. Z.
Okay, Dr. James, there's a couple of questions. What I know we've been talking about if you take too much, and that's what a lot of people do. Like, this is working. I can take more is better. So, would you speak to us about that? How much should we be taking, or how we should be taking it, and maybe talk about the vegan that perhaps didn't know that the capsule may have animal products involved there.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll take it since I started with the two vitamins that we're
Okay.
most interested in, and vegans and vegetarians. I'll start with B12. So B12 stands for cobalamin, and we really don't need a lot of it when you think of it and you compare it to other vitamins. It's something like just over 2 micrograms, like 2.4 micrograms, other recommended daily amount to take. And so if you go on the shelves and you look, you'll see 250 micrograms. You'll see 2,000, sometimes 10,000 micrograms. And if you B12 is a water soluble vitamin, so it is hard to get into trouble by taking too much. But there is a threshold for taking too much of anything. And I don't think it's been breached enough to amass to a lot of information on that in terms of what happens. Usually we're thinking about something that's going on with the liver, or with irritation with nerves. So rare though, that it's not that much of a consequence. But why take more of something if you don't need it? And usually these vitamins are not pure. So when you take B12, you're not getting pure B12. You're getting some stabilizers, you're getting some other preservatives, or sometimes dye. So you don't want to take any more than you need. And it depends on age and it depends on circumstances. People that are, like I said, over 50 should be taking some level of B12. If they're adult, we're talking about at least between 250 to up to 1,000 micrograms, depending on whether or not you have other ailments, whether you're taking other medications. Like people on metformin may need to take a higher amount because they don't absorb the B12 as much, as well as people that are on various other medications, which can be looked up. People like acid blockers, people are on omeprazole, also called Prilosec. Those type of medicines decrease it. Now, Dr. Zarif mentioned, well, what about when there's too much? So I've already mentioned you want to check your blood levels of these things because you don't want to have toxicity from medicines when it's too high. And B12 is measurable. So if you go to the doctor, say you're taking 1,000 micrograms a day, like the average adult might take, average adult my age, I'm in my 60s, might take 1,000 micrograms a day, then you want to have that checked to make sure, A, that it's adequate in terms of your B12 level, and B, that it's not too much. Now, with vitamin D, there is a little more information on vitamin D taking too much vitamin D. One thing is you can get hypercalcemia, which can cause some kidney problems, which can cause some other problems if that calcium starts solidifying in various areas. So you don't want to take 10,000 international units or more than that. really you should stick, if you're going to go more than 4,000 international units, those IUs, when you look on there, there's also that can be converted to milligrams or micrograms. Then you should consult your doctor, and you should definitely have your levels checked. That's how you stay out of trouble and make sure you have enough and not have too much, because hypercalciuria and hypercalcemia, which is high. That's when calcium is high in the blood. Hypercalciuria when it's high in your kidneys, because that's where you're going to get rid of it. That's how you're going to get rid of too much. You know, you can contribute to stone problems. I have a history of kidney stones, so the last thing I want is to have too much calcium in my blood. So those are things you want to be aware of, and make sure you check with your doctor, and you have your annual checkups where they do blood tests. You check for those levels.
That's beautiful. You know, that's one of the things that you did. You went right to the key, and that is examinations, everyone. You know, you don't guess or, self-medicate, because we have so many people that feel like, "Ah, I got this. Oh man, I ain't worried about nothing like that. Uncle Freddie, he died at 96 and he did that every day." They have a story that will, I guess, give them permission to behave in a certain way when it comes to being healthier. So I'm glad that you said exam, and I understand Tuskegee. I understand the all the different experiments that our people have gone through, the pain, some of the stuff just makes you want to regurgitate. But with that, we can turn it around to make it work for us. We should have some kind of system where, like the annual checkup, for instance, when you go in to see, your numbers will in your blood, or hypertension, or if there's a high cholesterol. Now, you hear this all the time, but these things are real, and these are the things that are actually causing a problem or a challenge. They don't just go away because we don't hear about them that much. They're not as popular. Yeah, they are popular. So a lot of things that, with the things that you hear, even what we're sharing with you, take some time to find out more about your sea, or you might like prunes. Find out about more about prunes. Just don't like, yummy, yummy, yummy. Take time to find out more about you. So that's, I wanted to, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about ourselves. Carolyn, what would you say to women about what we're talking about today? Carolyn, where are you?
I am so sorry. I'm right here. Um, what would I would say listen to Dr. James and Dr. Zari, what they what they have to tell you in regards to these vitamins and minerals and all the things and nutrients to take.
Well, you look very healthy. What are some of the things that, the things that you've put into motion, things that you've learned? Because you've been a vegan, or no animal lifestyle eating person now. So what's the difference in,
Um,
before and after?
right. For me, it's been what, eight and a half, almost 9 years. So the difference, I think the weight gain, that part of it, that's definitely a difference. I mean, being plant based, it does have its challenges too whenever it comes to eating things, because you're gonna find sweets and all those things. But the animal and not having any animal products, definitely not having to worry about meats that's being recalled, like all those things. It's you know having that on your mind is something that that's really good as far as not consuming any animal product. Um, so you kind of put me on the spot, and I'm trying to think.
Well, I want to take you off the spot, because it's like, I know it becomes very challenging, and it's sometimes it's a lot of convolution when it comes to learning more about nutrition and nutrients and assimilation and absorption and all of those things. So there is a lot of things to learn. I just wanted to see how, if there's any difference. So, and you do feel a difference. That's the main thing that you've conveyed to us, and
Absolutely, yeah.
that's what it really comes down to. Does it make a difference that we eat, in a different way or a better way or a healthier way? Dr. James, uh, what should we do when we come to the what I want to say was the amount of, or the mixture of vitamins. Like some people have vitamin D3, you have vitamin. There isn't. It might be a vitamin D, a vitamin D3. If there's a difference there. Is there any difference? Does this vitamin by itself? Because it seems to me that vitamins work better together. Is that right?
You mean like a multivitamin?
Yes.
There are pros and cons to it, and I'm kind of in the middle on it. I think I would take it case by case, individual by individual, because that's where a lot of things, even what
Yeah.
we choose to eat, tends to pan out that what works for one may not work for another.
Yeah.
But let me circle back a little bit because I didn't answer the second part of your other question, which kind of is adjacent to this, and that is the capsules that may contain animal products and
Yes.
like the typical vitamin D3 that's on the shelves is derived from an animal product from sheep wool, I believe, and um, and so that that is not a vegan product. But then, what is the answer to that? There are some solutions to that. One is vitamin D2, which is the precursor to vitamin D3. Your body can turn vitamin D2 into D3 because there's like a 3 or 4 step process from starting off with how the uh, the 25 hydroxy cholesterol is made. And one of the last steps is the liver converts it to its, I'm sorry, the kidney may convert it to its final product. The kidney and liver are involved. But the vitamin D2 is not and does not involve any animal product, but it also isn't as efficient at getting your vitamin D3 level up because the vitamin D3 is actually what's in your blood as the active hormone. So that's a disadvantage to vitamin D2. Now, there's an answer for that. There are forms of vitamin D3 that are vegan. They're made from, it's not really a plant, it's kind of in between, kind of a combination of a fungus and a mushroom, I believe. Well, fungi are mushrooms, but it's a combination of two organisms, but it's called lichen, Lichen. Lichen. So if your vitamin D3 is derived from lichen, then it is also vegan. So you may have to look a little harder to find that, but you have those two options. Either do them with vitamin D2 and check your levels to make sure your levels are getting up high enough because vitamin D2 again may not be as effective at increasing your vitamin D3 level. And then there's the vitamin D3, the vegan forms that's made generally from lichen. And then now back to mixtures. So I'm not a fan of multivitamins just because multivitamins tend to have several things in them, some of which I'm not even sure are relevant, and others I'm not certain are at doses they should be at. So I'm not a fan. I think B12 should be taken by itself because in many multivitamins it's at a very low level, if at all. Some people think because it says B complex or B on it that it means there's B12 in it, but no, it should say cobalamin or cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin. They're different. There are about 3 different types. So always read the labels. We don't tend to be big label readers for food and for vitamins we take, but you really should look at that label and see what you're getting. Many males in our age group, Dr. Zarif, my age group, don't need iron. There's a disadvantage to taking iron. I mean, we're not unlike younger women that are menstruating and losing some iron through their red blood cells monthly. Men aren't losing iron that way, so we don't want to overdo it with iron by taking multivitamins that have a lot of iron in it. So always check to see. There may be things in it you really don't need. If you're eating a very healthy plant-based diet, you don't need to take vitamin C or vitamin A. You know, you're eating those oranges, you're eating those apples, you're eating those greens, plenty of vitamin C. If you're eating those carrots and sweet potatoes, you're getting plenty of vitamin A. So you may not need all these things in a multivitamin. Now, on the other hand, some people know that they're not eating a balanced meal, that they're missing meals, or they're on the go, or they that, and so they may benefit from a multivitamin. What's the advantage of a multivitamin? You're not dealing with 10 different bottles of pills, or five different. And you get it done. You can be more consistent, and you need to be consistent with the supplements that you actually need. So that's what I'd say about that.
That's awesome. There's a lot of people I've met. They have this fetish that they actually buy all these different types of vitamins and minerals, and they serve more for decorations than they do for application. And I wish those ears were here now so that they could pick up on this, because a lot of when we're taking these vitamins and minerals, for those that do, again, be responsible, just like Dr. James is stating, and helping us to make better decisions about what we're putting in our bodies. It also means, again, that these vitamins and minerals do not work by themselves. We have to work too. A little jog here. I was um, going through my exercise last week, and there was some things that my body started just feeling good. While I was tearing it up, I was sprinting like I felt like I was, in the Olympics. It felt really good, and every time I feel good, you know what I do? I say, now what did I eat today? Or I'll say things like, how much did I rest? Or what do I have on? Or is it the shoes? I start, figuring it all out, so that I can repeat that. And that was something that I love to do. The other thing is that when it comes to nutrients, it's great to know that, like, we go through a lifetime, for most of us, that A stands for apple, and C might, or B might be for ball, or C, you know what I mean. We have this real basic stuff, and we hold on to it. But if we say something like, above that, if we say, like, let's say A stands for asocial, B stands for banter. That's something different than we were taught, but we can teach ourselves this more and more. I love this. One of my favorite shows that I look at is the different contests of some of the very swift minds of people that define words. Have you seen that, where people are competing for 500, $1,000,
Right.
when they'll say, what what other how what's the difference in leather and fake leather? What ingredients is different? They might say something like that, and then they'll answer. And I mean, it's like this. It's like that, and it's really great. I love it because they've taken simplicity and made it almost it's just starting off as a game, but now it's a process where you can think of things. And I think, I'm not an expert in this part, but I think that if you do something over and over again, the fact is that you get good at whatever you're doing, or whatever that is. Like, practice doesn't make perfect, but your practicing, when you practice whatever you go over and over again, whether it's good or bad, is going to increase, or it's going to um, make it easier for you to attain the rewards of the repetition. So this actually practice makes automatic. So do the things that we can do that will allow us to automatic or allow you to automatically you're reaching in and you're drinking something that if you know that the soda isn't good for you, then and you know that if you open the take off the top that you're going to drink it, then you may want to stop buying it and bringing it home with you. If there's other things like multiple vitamins and minerals, and you're really one of those particular people about what's going in your body, read the label, but also don't be afraid to call that 800 number too. Get more information and tell them that Mind and Nature sent you. All right. So let's go ahead. We want to either Dr. James, would you like to add anything to that? Uh, Carolyn, you're in the mix also. Anything you'd like to add to it?
I do have or there is a question here from My Purpose Production on Instagram. And the question is, speaking of B12, which is better to take liquid or solid form? And also, should it be taken on an empty stomach?
Okay, the cyanocobalamin. Dr. James, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Well, you can either one you feel more comfortable taking, whether it be a pill form, chewable form, or liquid form is fine. The liquid forms tend to be more readily absorbed. So if you find that you're taking a tablet or a chewable and you go for your checkup and your level's still kind of low, then you might want to have a liquid form. And the liquid form, usually having it under your tongue for a while, maybe a minute or two or three, just under your tongue, that can increase the absorption because that's bypassing the stomach acid, which sometimes it's not as efficient as absorbing from the stomach. Well, actually, you need the acid, but if you have low acid or other things going on in the stomach, trying to digest food, then it perhaps gets more readily absorbed by having it under your tongue for a while. I have a chewable form that I usually have under my tongue for several minutes till I get tired of it, and then I'll swallow whatever's left because put that stuff under your tongue makes you make more saliva, so then you tend to want to swallow it.
Right.
But yeah, you can whatever you choose. The thing to be aware of, and maybe even consult your doctor about, because we don't like to prescribe in this venue, is to find out if you're on the adequate dose, because it differs, and really you should consider that for many vitamins. Whether it can make a difference your age as to what you should be taking, it can make a difference your gender. Like some women need various supplements at different levels than men. For example, even zinc and things like that. So you want to always make sure you're in the right range of what you should be getting. But yes, and food, I don't think food you could double check. I hate to give wrong information, but I don't think I don't think food would be an issue if you chose to take it with food. I know I have taken it with food. There are some medications, some supplements you should not take with food. But then the water soluble ones usually aren't too much a problem. The thing is that some of the vitamins, like vitamin D, being a fat soluble vitamin, and some of the other ones are better taken with some healthy fats, whether it be avocado, nuts, or something like that. Because they're more well absorbed. So anyway, that would be the my response to that.
Oh, that's wonderful. And man, you're on point every time, of course. This is the Mind of Nature, and we want to welcome everybody. We have a lot of people over here on Instagram. Thank you very much. I see Yasina in the house, and we got Glenn in the house, Brother Glenn from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you for being here. We have Brandon, and yeah, this is great. Brandon, be yourself. Crawford is here. Thank you all for being here, and want to go ahead and give a salute to My Purpose Productions and Sky Aim Productions. Yeah, we really appreciate you being here. We have the wonderful Dr. James Thompson on with us this morning, talking about some of the disadvantages and the advantages of nutrients, and we're going to go right into some of the performance enhancers This is something that we want to spend a little time on. So I'm going to start in with the performance enhancing drugs. Now, you've probably heard of this. The performance enhancing drugs are those drugs that you've probably heard athletes being uh, tested and being positive because they took something that, according to the rules, gives them this exceptional advantage. They are documented examples that uh, well, like of the professional bodybuilders and the strength athletes, both the men and women who die prematurely or experience some serious, sometimes devastating health consequences. It is important, however, not to imply that every death or disability was caused by bodybuilding and by the anabolic steroids, and that's what most people are known for: steroids. Because as we get into this a little more, it'll give you a better understanding. But peptides today is they're trending today. Peptides have been around a very long time, and I'm gonna give you a better understanding of what that's about. Extreme dieting. Now, this is when people they can usually overeating, a lot of bodybuilding, and those who use their bodies for performing in front of people, that body building where it looks like it's just muscle on top of muscle. It takes a lot of food, a lot of calories in order to do that. And part of that is called extreme dieting. Or, of course, what we're talking about this morning is supplements. In many individual cases, the exact contribution of the performance enhancing drugs, or the PEDs, training, genetics, dehydration, medication, or other factors are uncertain. But some people, again, remember I warned you about self medication. I understand that you've done it before and you felt better, but it's really important that you do see your PCP, your principal um, uh, physician that you can talk to about your situation. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to be, your back up to the wall about it. Go while you're feeling good, and have that particular be examined so that you can perhaps avoid, some years of headaches. Now, when it comes to men, Andreas Munzer of Australia, an Australian professional bodybuilder, died in 1996 after only 31 years old, after developing severe multi-organ problems. And this is one of the things that happen when we overdo it, when we're overdoing the eating. We think that, we can, first of all, muscle doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, and it does take time to metabolize all of that big mixture of food that we put in our body. So the besides the multi-organ problems, including the liver and the kidney abnormalities and the gastrointestinal bleeding, this can definitely increase the risk of death and infection and illness. Super important. There's another professional, Mohammed bin Zaziza, and he was a highly respected or successful professional bodybuilder and former Mr. Olympia competitor. Now, he died in 1992 at the age of 33 after competing in Europe. Now, his death has been associated with severe dehydration and diuretic use, and hydration the dehydration and diuretic use is to drain or to the body doesn't wants to be the least amount of water so that you can accentuate or to express the musculature of the human body. It's really incredible. Some guys really build their bodies wonderfully, and they compete and they make some of those men become very wealthy after years of practicing. Just like Schwarzenegger at one time was one of the leading bodybuilding or bodybuilders in the world. So there's a whole lot of other disease too. There's Rich Piana, which is one of the best known modern bodybuilding personalities. He just died in 2017 at the age of 46. So it goes on and on. The idea here is not to, just because you take a drug and you think that you're going to look like somebody that you're looking at in a magazine, this can be very deadly to you. If you are doing things like that, again, you should be talking to your doctor, whoever's your lead there. The difference in having someone professional check out what you're putting into your body and not having someone checking you out is that you're guessing. Okay, you're playing a game, you're rolling the die, and it's like you don't know what's going to pop up. So for those of you, especially brothers that hear me talking about this right now, be sure that you do your due diligence so that you can avoid some of these things that we're talking about today. George Peterson, for instance, he's a professional bodybuilder who actually competed successfully in the classic physique and the two, 212 divisions. This brother, he actually died suddenly this is just a couple of years ago, in 2021, and he died at the age of 37. So again, what we're sharing with you is not to scare you, but it is to wake you up so that you won't continue doing the things that will hurt you and those things that will set you back or just make you a very sickly person. And then you hear a lot of people that actually say that this person was crippled with certain diseases or certain levels of sickness, different situations. So I wouldn't even really you know particularly call any athlete crippled, but unless reliable medical documentation establishes the permanent disability. A more accurate classification would be premature death, cardiovascular disease, organ damage, neurological injury, endocrine or endocrine dysfunction, or other document loss of health or documented loss of health and chronicled loss of health. That distinction is especially important if you intend to use the information in presentation, article, or health education programs. So this isn't really just about teaching this in a class form. It's about you as an individual, because this whole program was set up for you and you to make better decisions. Now, I know a lot of people are out there chasing the money. You need the money. Hey, yeah, man, I get my exercise counting my money. Well, it's good for a couple of chuckles, but when it comes down to taking care of yourself, this is serious business. And when we talk about serious business, we're talking about premature death. We're talking about cardiovascular disease, organ damage. We're talking about all that stuff. And these are the things that can happen if you do not take care of yourself. And I know that if you don't take certain drugs or you don't have a certain behavior when you're bodybuilding, you won't qualify for most of these competitions. Very rare. You have, for instance, like those people or athletes that compete at very high levels. They many of them do take enhancers, and there are many tests that they're given to make sure that they don't get an advantage to all the other athletes that are not taking these different performance enhancers. Performance enhancers can mean legal supplements, it can mean prescription medications used for performance, or it can mean the anabolic or the androgenic steroids and other drugs. The benefits and risk, they vary enormously by category. And like Dr. James said, your age, your sex, meaning your are you man or woman, female or male, those things make a big difference. For instance, there is you have a ginseng that men take, and this gives you more energy, picks you up. And then you have for women, Don Quai. Now, Don Quai does the same thing for women as the ginseng does for men, but it's the understanding of those properties and how they actually work in a individual. So again, also the biochemical individuality, that's another thing to consider. How different is your body from another person's body? And some of it's just genetics, and then some of it is talent. And all of these are different things to be considered. You won't be getting your six pack in 30 days. It just won't happen. If you don't have it in 30 days, I mean, you can work on it, but some of the things that you hear are just marketing points. This is what they most of these marketers do to grab your attention and to convince you that you can do that by taking their product. Okay, so I'll stop right here, and if there's any questions about what I went over so far, or Dr. James has gone over so far, give us some questions, and we'll go ahead and be glad to entertain them. Any questions?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. James and Dr. Zari. There are some questions, but also some comments here from Denise Kane. Um, and she says here, let me adjust it 1 minute, excuse me. Says, thank you for the information about taking multivitamins and other vitamins together. I was taking B12 and a multivitamin together. Now I know.
All right. That would be Dr. James. I mean,
And then you want me to
Yeah.
continue on
I
with
don't know if
the
that was a question. I think I was
yeah,
just
what,
it was
what,
more of a comment. Yes.
but I would say hopefully what that is that the meaning from that is that you read the label, see what's in the multivitamin, and make sure you're not getting things you don't need. Maybe check with your doctor, do some of your own research, so that you can ask your doctor some very selective questions, because doctors don't have a lot of they don't take a lot of time to listen to you, so you better go in with your checklist and kind of figure that out.
That's right. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. James, how about the people that don't believe in those people? That it's just like controversy. It's like the ones that like I'm not calling. The last time I called, I heard that my sister said that. All those kinds of things that just makes you like I don't know what to tell you. So if a person doesn't want to make a phone call, are there any other ways to get information about those things that we see on the label?
Well, there's endless information now.
Yeah,
The thing is, you want to always make sure your resources are authentic and official,
yeah,
because you have to be careful where you get your information from. And then if there are questions, go ahead and make that call or visit or appointment, because it's important to get those questions answered from someone that knows about the pharmacology, that knows about the risks, that knows you, because sometimes you may not be thinking about other things, some other medications you're taking, because a
Right.
lot of people think because things are over the counter or they're vitamins, they don't have to worry about anything else. But you may be on some medication where that vitamin could create a problem for you. Maybe you're on a blood thinner and you're taking something with vitamin K,
Yeah.
that affects your clotting. So you want to include your doctor in the conversation. Now, I understand you say, "Well, I call the doctor, I don't hear anything for 3 days or whatever." Sometimes that does happen. Don't feel bad. Leave a message as to what your specific concerns are. Sometimes what will happen is the doctor's assistant or nurse practitioner or physician assistant will call you back, and that's fine because they tend to be they're very qualified and allied health individuals. So don't so talking sometimes with the nurse who can talk with the doctor may facilitate getting your questions answered. But nothing wrong with doing your preparatory research. Just try not to wear the doctor's cap and do self-prescribing and you know get yourself into trouble there.
Exactly. So those of you that got those stethoscopes in the closet, you might want to, I understand how it is though, because we're in the society, like I know doctors that I used to, I won't say their names, but I used to tease, and I still do. I would say, Doctor So and So, I bet you wear your lab coat to bed, because one brother said, man, as hard as it was for me to do, the things that I needed to in order to become a doctor and pass the USMLE and all the different things that he went through. And then I said, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense when a person has worked very hard to get a certain levels. But it's so important that you actually pay attention to some your options. You got to the brothers. I'm telling you, and I'm saying this, of course, because I'm in the category of man, and I understand that like we as men sometimes we drag along and we don't get these checkups early enough, and then we don't share some of these things like with our spouse or whoever you got in place, a good friend. It's good to have somebody to talk to because you may be, you just may be dealing with something that you can thwart or you can abbreviate or you can get rid of altogether. And this is really important because sometimes, when you hear people say he died of a premature death, that simply means he died earlier than he should have. And that is super important because, who wants to lose life is already short enough if you just go the whole, um, if you just live life, naturally. But if you're speeding it up, you drinking and eating anything that goes down your throat. You don't exercise. All that stuff. I don't want to, I don't want to mess up my delivery with all those negatives. But it's like super important that you get that examination. If you haven't gotten it yet, if you listening to this and your husband hasn't gotten it yet, demand that he goes to get it. Set an appointment for him and just tell him you have an appointment on this October the 14th and at 8 a.m. and where it is, and go with them if you can. Support them because sometimes they're, especially when it comes to men, our machismo leads, and we're making all kinds of decisions that may be anti or counterproductive.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I have a question here from Carolina. And she says, my friend gave me something called Sugar Harmony. Is that a vitamin? I'm not sure what that is.
Now
So
it's Yeah, it's a product. They have a lot of products as a sweetener, and they use these. They're artificial sweeteners, and these artificial sweeteners usually are for the purpose of taking the place of, for instance, sucrose, or table sugar. And most people think of them as being very effective, and people use those things to say or to feel like, well, at least it wasn't sugar. I got something that was not as sweet as sugar. So that's probably what we're looking at in that case. But you
Yeah.
know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had a chance to. I took a little chance to look it up right quick.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a dietary wellness product that's frequently marketed online, sometimes somewhere between $17 and $35, and it contains a. Whoops, that's my. She
Hey,
woke up.
little one.
This is Jelani. This she just made five. She just woke up, but
Yeah, 5 years old. Yeah.
Good morning.
I have to let her know. There's some applause, some clapping going on over here. Anyway, but anyway, yeah, it's a wellness drug, but it hasn't been FDA approved. And it contains a number of things like cinnamon bark. It contains bitter melon, some cactus type of extract. So it's really supposed to help your metabolism, stabilize blood sugars, things like that. But it hasn't been proven. It's not FDA approved, and so when you don't have that, we take a lot of things that aren't FDA approved. Of course, there's a lot of over-the-counter supplements and various health enhancers. But this one, as I was looking, as heavily as it is advertised, there aren't studies to show that it actually does what it's supposed to do. So I would have some reservation about that, and certainly talk with your doctor about it.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's beautiful.
Sure.
So you get, I thank you for that, Carolina. And Carolina, I just wanted to say to you personally, congratulations. You are, from the moment that you said, hey, I'm going to start taking care of myself better. I mean, you're on it. So keep up the good work. That's a great example for all of us.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, all right.
And then we have a comment here from Rosemary Sarpy says, "Thank you, Dr. James Thompson, for all that you do. Carry on."
That's my. We go way back. High school,
Oh, great.
1976.
Oh, my goodness.
We keeping up with each other. We're on a prayer line. She's a wonderful person.
That is
Right.
wonderful.
Thank you for
Beautiful.
joining, Rosemary. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Another one. I know this is late, but I'm going to do this soon. I love it. I love it. It says something about a man's character or a woman's character when you are friends with people that long and you can go back that long. Everybody can't do that. Some people don't remember the names. They don't even know where this is the school still located. They have, but the connection that people have with each other. I mean, I am like really excited about that because that's in the end, after all this stuff that we accumulate and all this stuff that happens in life, the thing that we have for sure is the connection with the relationship. That's the greatest thing that we own is the relationship. And we have to take care of those relationships like they are of great value because they are. And anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we got the summation. If Dr. James, we get ready to get out of here. So, if you'd like to go ahead and give us a summary or whatever you like.
Sure. Well, thank you all for coming and listening and asking your questions and giving your comments. First of all, and thank Dr. Zarif and Care for having this space available for learning and for exchange. And thank you, my grandchild, for wanting to join me. But
Hey.
we've spent some time talking about vitamins, and that's where we were talking about supplements that help to enhance normal physiology. Then we shifted appropriately to pharmacological substances that help the body to push beyond the normal limits. And so I think it's easy to discern what's more important there. Many of us get enough protein, get enough nutrients when we eat a balanced meal, especially with appropriate fruits and veggies and nuts and seeds and the regular balance of plant-based foods. And so we often don't need enhancing drugs, but as we know, some people choose to do those things based on other endeavors they have, perhaps to be elite athletes, perhaps to just look more muscular. But you want to choose wisely. You want to do your diligence and know that a lot of these pharmaceuticals that Dr. Zarif mentioned are not FDA approved and may have some significant side effects and harm that may be 10, 20 years later. So certainly take that into consideration and just remember every day, uh, God willing, we have the opportunity to improve our health by what we choose to eat and what we choose to do with our bodies. And by learning more in venues like this, we can become people that not only just survive, but people that thrive. Meaning we get up with vitality and purpose and with stamina so that we can do the things that we have set as our purpose to do. So thank you, Dr. Zarif, and thank you, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you, Dr. James. We appreciate you so much. So I want to say to everyone, Carolyn, don't let me, Carolyn, you want to get your anything you want to say? You look like it.
Well, just thank you to everyone here. We live streamed on Facebook. We also added Dr. James's Facebook, so that was great. And then on YouTube and on Instagram as well. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone that dropped a comment, shared the live, and all the things. It's always appreciated. So, yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Carrie. That was really appreciated. That was really great. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, yes, we're reaching around the world today. Sometimes it's going to be a delay, you know. But thank you, everybody. It's really wonderful that we had this opportunity again. And we're going to keep bringing to you the news that will be most helpful for you. We're very thankful that you took the time to listen. It's very important to us. And remember, put the stuff that you're learning, the stuff that's going in your brain, into action. That's what it's all about, man. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist.